Hey, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a fun little video on multitasking and how you can really condense your products, learn to multitask with them, and kind of just cut back, especially for just like a daily routine. If you find that you are in a rush in the morning, or you just need to get out the door, or you're just looking to really kind of simplify your daily makeup routine, I'm going to run you through some tools, some products, some techniques that will just kind of help you become a better multitasking queen when it comes to your makeup. So let's go ahead and get on into it. Let's talk about brushes really briefly. I think that everybody needs this brush in their collection. It is the one and done brush. You can literally create an entire face look with this brush. Very inexpensive as well, and it's the Real Techniques setting brush. You can apply powders with this. You can apply cream products with this. You can blend with it. You can sculpt with it. You can dab with it. I mean, it's just, it goes on and on and on and on. I use this for probably 80 to 90% of my entire face looks. If you are familiar with my channel, you know I use this for a lot of different products. So you can use it for your concealer. You can use it for your foundation, your cream bronzer, your cream blushes, highlighter, cream highlighter. I mean, it's not limited to anything on the face. I mean, heck, you could even take it and do a quick little wash of bronzer over your eyelid if you didn't have any type of eyeshadow brush. So I just think that this is a very valuable brush when it comes to multitasking, and if you can throw it into your collection, you won't regret it. For eye makeup, we all know the power of just having a good solid blending brush. I mean, just having this brush right here, so many makeup artists, that's why the MAC 217 is such an iconic brush. So many makeup artists multitasked with that brush when it first came out. I always give this example. There was a regional trainer at MAC out of Nashville, and I loved him. I loved going for him to advice and tips. He worked New York Fashion Week, and we were talking about how much we love the 217 brush one day, and I said something like, oh, you can just create any eye look with it. I mean, like any eye look, you can just use that one brush. And he was like, honey, any eye look, you can create an entire face look with the MAC 217. And that just kind of stuck with me forever because he was exactly right. The right texture, the right size brushes, you can really manipulate and use them for a lot of different things. So I think just having a standard solid blending brush, like these two right here, I can create, basically this is what I did use today to create this entire look. I used one more brush, a little smudger brush here just to smudge out my liner. But other than that, these were like the only other brushes I used today. So let's talk about something like a primer or a prep product. I really like multi-benefit products. So that means something that's going to moisturize the skin, something that is going to prep the skin for makeup, and also something that has SPF in it. That's why I really like the Olay facial sunscreen. I use this in a lot of videos, and it just has this silky canvas to it. It leaves your face feeling really primed, but it also moisturizes, and it also has SPF in it. So that's kind of knocking out me having to go in and use a regular moisturizer and then an SPF underneath it and then a primer on top of that. This is kind of just like that multi-benefit product. I'll list some products you can look into down below. I know some people are sensitive to Olay products and some people need things that are just more suited to sensitive skin. So just looking into products like that that have multi-layered benefits that you can just throw on and your skin's prepped and it's ready to go. Learning to utilize your concealer as your foundation is a really great way to multitask with your base. This is a great example I like to use in a lot of my videos. It's the MAC Studio Finish Concealer. They actually make this concealer in a foundation form. It's called the MAC Full Coverage Foundation. If you didn't know that, MAC Full Coverage Foundation is basically just a bigger Studio Finish concealer. So it's a very multi-purpose product, and this little duo I like using as an example because it actually comes with a darker shade and a lighter shade. Now, I don't think they make these pre-made. I think you actually have to go in and pick your shades now, which is more beneficial in my opinion because you can actually pick the shades that you need. But anyways, this basically comes with a neutral toned concealer and a warmer tone concealer. So I can kind of blend those around. I like to use more of the neutral, lighter tone underneath my eye and then kind of like the darker shade shades around the perimeter of my face. So this is just a really good example of utilizing concealer as foundation. Obviously, if you had more of just like a stick concealer or even just like a traditional liquid concealer, same way, you would utilize that in the same way. But I just think a lot of people think concealer is reserved for just spot concealing and the under eye area, and the truth is that it's a complexion product, it's a coverage product. It can work in the exact same way that a foundation does. Next technique is something that has been done for years and years and years, but I feel like it's kind of been looked down upon with like the Instagram makeup being such a trend, and just overall, I think blushes in general for a while were a really big Tarte. You know, does everyone remember like the Tarte Amazonian clay blushes? Everyone just went wild for like powder blush for a while, and I was guilty myself for it. But this is something that makeup artists have been doing for years, and I'm glad that it's finally starting to become like more of a popular trend again. And that's just using your lipstick as your blush, especially if you like matte lipsticks. I love using the MAC Powder Kiss as an example. I actually like using these on my cheeks more than I do on my lips. They have such a soft blurring effect to them. They're pretty long wearing even on the face, and I think it's just a great way to cut down from, you know, maybe having to go out and buy an extra blush or pack an extra blush when you travel. Just, you know, kind of getting a good neutral lipstick tone. Maybe something, if you like something more pink, going with something more pink. I'm pretty neutral. I don't like rosy flush cheeks on me as much. So this one's called My Tweety by MAC, and that's what I have on my lips and my cheeks today. So yeah, using your lipstick as blush looks amazing, and you know, again, a great multi-purpose queen technique. Tinted brow gels are a great multi-purpose product. They really eliminate having to go in with a pencil or a pomade or even just a standard powder. You just kind of run this through, fills in your brows, gives you a little bit of volume going on, and you can be out the door. I realize some who might have brows that aren't necessarily shaped as evenly, you probably will have to do a little bit of extra back work. But if you've never incorporated a tinted brow gel into your routine, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't say that my eyebrows are evenly shaped at all, but I can run Glossier Boy Brow through them. And I mean, I can kind of like, I can trick you a little bit, you know, into thinking that they're pretty even, you know, brows are supposed to be sisters, not twins. And most of you know my personal favorite is Glossier Boy Brow, but there are a ton of drugstore brands that make them now, and a lot of other just brands in general that now have tinted brow gels, and I just love it for a quick bit of color, a quick bit of structure to the brow. Okay, so last kind of multi-purpose technique or tip is to utilize your bronzer and your eyeliner as eyeshadow. I've talked about how I like to use eyeliner as eyeshadow in quite a few videos now, and I think that once you get the hang of it, you'll really understand how beneficial it is and how easy it can be. So I like to use the example, just something like a dark espresso brown. This one is by Maybelline. It's the line Express. It's kind of more of like a powdery formula eyeliner, so it blends very easily. You can use whichever eyeliner you have in your collection, but what I like to do is just kind of start out near the base of my lashes, and then I'll take something like either just my standard blending brush, or most of the time I like something that is a little bit more dense, and then I'll basically just work and smudge that into the eye and kind of work it up into the crease once it starts to fade, and it gives this multi-dimensional effect like you're wearing at least two colors on your eyes, when in reality you just smudge a bit of eyeliner on and you call it a day. Also using your bronzer. So the way I'm wearing my eyeshadow today is I went in and I smudged a little bit of my liner all over my lids and kind of into my lash line just to get that hazy effect. And then I just took on my big blending brush a bit of my bronzer and just swept that all over my eye and also into the crease. And it just gave me a nice, lovely, neutral brown shadow look. Obviously nothing extravagant, but I think it's a really pretty and flattering look, especially for a lot of different skin tones. You just kind of have to adjust the shades, obviously, to what your skin tone is. And definitely would recommend a bronzer and highlighter duo because what I like to do kind of to finish things off is just take a little bit of the highlighter and use that on my inner corner to help brighten that area, or you could simply take a little bit on your finger and kind of pat it on the center of the lid, and you kind of go from having a completely matte eye look to something that has a bit of a sheen to it. So, you know, using that bronzer highlighter kind of combo, you can double up on the face and double up on the eyes. Okay, so those are just a few ways and some techniques that you can really utilize your products in multiple ways to create a full face makeup look. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel like if you are familiar with my channel, you probably picked out all these techniques because they are truly techniques that I use on a daily basis for myself and also in tutorials. I'm gonna have product recommendations down below as well for things that I've talked about and things that you can check out and look into for yourself, as well as the brushes that I mentioned and probably a couple others, just so you guys have options. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down below, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.